I'm so happy today because I just got my new MA on PC command wing in the mail. I ordered it about 3 weeks ago and it's finally showed up. So I wanted to kind of show you guys what's inside the box when you get it, and then I'll kind of put together my little on PC setup with my laptop and external screens and show you what it looks like when it's all built together. I was a little scared because this is the first time I've had something this expensive and I guess big come through customs. So it was actually held up in San Francisco for like 3 days while they like inspected it or whatever. It actually kind of showed up without any warning. The tracking information for international packages, from what I've just discovered with this, is pretty bad. But yeah, so this is what you get in the box when you order one of these. You get the power cable that doesn't have a male termination on the end of it, so you have to pick for your own country or whatever receptacle you're going to be plugging it into most frequently. I'm going to choose Edison. It also has like the locking IEC style, so that's kind of cool. Means it won't get pulled out from the back of the console accidentally. Then, of course, USB A to B with a ferrite core around one end. This was kind of cool. They included a permanent marker for the little scribble strip on the labels on the Executors. So that's kind of cool. And the really basic manual that appears to be in all German. Oh, no, there's English in the back. But I don't really need this. I think I'll probably just archive this. Or maybe throw it in if I start renting this guy out. I'm sure this will be a good little piece of literature to have in the bottom of the case. And this is actually the very first time to peel off this cover. Yeah, I'm so excited to finally have one of my own. I wish it was a little smaller. It's kind of big for like an on PC. Like, I just feel like they could have made this a lot smaller, in my opinion. But yeah, this is going to be perfect for me programming like time-coded shows from home, since I have a previs kind of station set up in my apartment. So yeah, I'm just gonna take a minute here and kind of throw together my console setup now and show you what everything looks like. So here we have my full on PC setup. This is like the maximum size version, I guess, that I have right now. I could trim it down for smaller gigs, but this is, you know, if I'm doing a bigger festival, like what I'm programming right now, this is the setup I'll be using. So this is Bohm's MIDI Translator Pro. Basically, it's taking the signal from the Elation Midicon. Thankfully, MA can, like, it recognizes all of the buttons, but the only thing that you really have to tweak and translate are these faders, because MA cannot natively read the control change MIDI note that these spit out. So basically, I am sending all of this fader data into this translator, and then the translator is sending all of that information to MA. So when I go into MA and make it so that it reads the Bohm MIDI translator as my MIDI in device, it'll then pick up the faders. You can see them moving on screen there, and then down here. And of course, if we go into the remote input setup, we can see that yes, we are getting our translation coming through correctly. And then these are all the different mappings that I'm mapping my executors to. And the main reason I've been using the MIDI Con is because I think it has the most MIDI buttons per dollar that you spend on a piece of gear, and it has 16 pages. So if I wanted to, I could program this and make it so that each page had its own independent set of buttons. Right now I have it set up so that all the pages are basically copied to each other, so it doesn't matter what page I'm on, all the buttons will do the same thing. This monitor is basically just a second monitor from the HDMI output of the Lenovo. I'm using it to previs MA3D, but if I want to, I can use it as a second monitor. And this is not a touchscreen monitor, unfortunately. That's like the next step in my setup here. I think I'm going to get just a slightly smaller touchscreen so that it lines up with the edge here. It's just a little wider than the command wing. I would like to get one that is perfectly in line with the size of the command wing. But yeah, so this is where I keep all of like my bitmap stuff and things that I seldomly touch, command line feedback. Then of course we have the on-PC command wing, and I'm so glad that I have this because it's just super reliable. I used to basically take around this rack, and it's basically a MA network signal processor and an uninterruptible power supply. And this laptop is touchscreen, so I'm able to do things like you know, make gobo selections, change colors. I can either change all colors on the top row for all fixtures, or I can pick and choose you know, different color combinations. So if I want like my moving beam lights to be a certain color, say I want my beams to be yellow and the bright stripes to be green or whatever, you can kind of pick and choose, and it shows you on the screen which one's currently active. And then down below here I'm programming movements and positions, and then over to the right I have I'll be filling this in with like prism, beam effects, other kind of, you know, less used things. The things that I'm like always pressing frequently, I always have these on physical buttons so that I can kind of like play the lights, I guess you could say. So these are things like strobe hits and color bumps, all sorts of things like that, where they're only active as long as I'm like holding down the button, or in some cases they'll be like a toggle button. So that's kind of how I have things laid out over here. And on the main playback section on the command wing itself, always intensities and like intensity chases. So those are the colors that we just picked in the layout view over there. And I've just got like strobe, like I always have like bump to white on these two per type of fixture. So the two main types of like moving light, I'll have those as white bumps, and then the far left 101 is always synced strobe, and then the one to the right of that is random strobe. So that means I can just easily put together some flash and trash stuff no matter what. But like I was saying, these are always my intensity faders. The first like 5 or 6 are always intensity faders. So the way I have my my intensity executor set up is pretty much always the same way, right? So I have like intensity faders by type, and each has like a cue list of different types of dimmer chases. So as I'm going through them, they have different dimmer effects applied to them. So usually I'll have about like 15 different chases, different effects that are in these cue lists, right? So that I can pick and choose, and if I want to, I can always hit the top button on the executor and it brings it all the way back to the first cue, which is full open, right? And then I can dim it, of course, with the fader. Another thing I do is I program it so that the effects are variable intensity. So you can bring up the intensity independent of the effect values itself. So it's kind of like a sandwich, right? So you can choose the high value with this fader. And then I have speed always on a different fader, so I can increase the speed of the dimmer effect. And then, of course, slow it down until it stops. So that's kind of the basics of how I lay out everything as far as my basic programming. And then I'll always have like about 20 or 30 cues in my master cue stack, so that I can always kind of hit go, and then it'll progress to like the next look, or the next like baseline where I can start building and doing more cool stuff off of. And then right here I have my Surface Pro 4 that right now I'm not doing a whole lot with it, but for example, if I am doing my MA3D on here, I can use this as my second external screen. And I'm also going to be adding a wireless AC router to my rack, so that I'll be able to use this without having to connect a USB to Ethernet dongle. The thing about using routers in this kind of setup though is that MA delivers all packets simultaneously to all stations, so it can really slow down your network, even if this is the only thing that you think should be slow because it's the only thing connected to Wi-Fi. it slows down the whole network speed for every device that's connected. And then around back here, I have my Elation Enode 8 Pro. And this is basically my my Artnet output box. And as you can see, I am outputting Artnet from the MA on PC computer. I'm sending 8 ports of data to these 8. So these are the first 8 universes. And then the NSP also has 4 outputs back there, as you can see. So yeah, with this little setup I have, the Command Wing has 3 possible DMX outputs. The Enode has 8 DMX outputs, and the NSP has 4. So I think that leaves me with 15 DMX outputs total. That's pretty sweet. And this is what it looks like when it's all packed up and ready to roll to the gig. It's definitely not as easy to you know, set up and maneuver like a console is in its own rolling case, but you know, to save you know, $10,000–$15,000 over what a console costs, I'm perfectly fine with lugging these 4 cases around. Hey, thanks so much for watching my vlog. If you found it interesting, leave a like down below and maybe give a comment and tell me what you'd like to see in future episodes. And if you go ahead and click on the upper right corner of this video, it'll take you to a whole nother video. And finally, don't forget, hit that subscribe button down below and check out my social media links in the description to stay updated on everything that I'm doing. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.